There is a truth that lives quietly beneath every fear you've ever known, behind every moment of doubt, grief, longing, or confusion. It does not raise its voice, for it is not the voice of the world. It is the voice of the soul, the voice that was with you before you took your first breath, and the voice that will carry you long after the story of your body concludes. And this voice, this presence, whispers with unwavering certainty, you were never disconnected. Not from source, not from love, not from the light, not from the infinite flow of wisdom, joy, and divine presence that pulses through all things. The disconnection you felt was not the truth. It was the illusion, a passing cloud, not the sky, a dream, not the dreamer. You have always been connected. You have always been whole. You have always been one. The moment you believe you are separate, the world reflects separation. You see yourself as a body, and you forget the soul. You see yourself as a role, a daughter, a son, a spouse, a worker, a failure, a success, and you forget that you are not any of these things. You are not your title. You are not your mistakes. You are not even your accomplishments. You are a divine spark cloaked in temporary form, journeying through time but never touched by it. The river cannot be separated from the ocean, just as you cannot be separated from your source. Yet we forget. Oh, how easy it is to forget. We grow up in a world that teaches us to look outward for our worth, our identity, our purpose. We chase approval like thirsty wanderers in a desert, unaware that the well was within us all along. We seek fulfillment in achievement, security in possessions, and validation in the eyes of others, all while the truth patiently waits, untouched, at the center of our being. The soul does not panic when you forget it. It does not scold or shame. It simply waits. Like the sun behind the storm clouds, like the stillness beneath the waves, like the breath you forgot you were breathing. Your reconnection is not something to be earned, it is something to be remembered. And even the remembering is not a journey outward, it is a return inward, a silent homecoming to what never left. You were not born broken. You were not born flawed or in need of repair. You were born radiant, a slice of eternity, temporarily dressed as a name, a face, a story. Before you were taught to compare, you were content. Before you were taught to chase, you were still. Before you were taught to doubt, you trusted. And before you ever learned fear, you knew only love. Every moment you spend trying to fix what was never broken is a moment spent deepening the illusion. Healing does not come from proving your worth. It comes from seeing that your worth is beyond proof, beyond question, beyond logic. It is inherent. It is eternal. It is what you are. When a wave forgets it is the ocean, it may panic at the sight of the shore. It may thrash, thinking it will end. But the wave was never separate. It was always the ocean in motion, changing shape, but never substance. And you too are the motion of the divine, the breath of God, the movement of eternity through form. You are not disconnected, you only thought you were. And thought, though powerful, is not truth. Let us look closely at this, because so often the disconnection we feel is not based on experience, but interpretation. It is not what happened, but what we told ourselves about what happened. We were rejected, and we said, I must be unlovable. We failed, and we said, I must be inadequate. We were abandoned, and we said, I must be worthless. But none of those are truths. They are interpretations, echoes of pain dressed up as facts. But pain is not identity. Pain is not prophecy. Pain is not who you are. It is only the messenger. It is only the teacher. And its lesson is always the same. Come home. Return to the truth. Remember who you are. When you truly remember, the story loses its grip. The labels fall away. The fear fades. And you no longer ask, am I worthy of love? because the question itself becomes irrelevant. You do not ask the sky if it's worthy of blue. You do not ask the sun if it deserves to shine. You simply let them be, because their being is enough, and so is yours. Now breathe and listen. There is nothing you must become. There is only something you must stop pretending not to be. You are not on a journey to become something greater. You are on a journey to remember the greatness you already are. You are not trying to find the light. You are learning to stop covering it. Like a candle hidden under layers of cloth, your radiance has never ceased to burn. Even in your darkest hour, your soul was aglow, untouched, unscarred, unmoved by the storms of the mind. The ego shouts, the soul whispers, and in the noise of the world we begin to believe that only the loud is true. But truth does not need to announce itself, it simply is. The oak tree does not shout to prove its strength. The stars do not compete for attention. The divine does not market itself with flashing signs. It resides quietly in your stillness, waiting for your return. Not because it ever left, but because you looked away. To feel disconnected is not a failure. It is a call, a sacred longing, a divine ache, reminding you that the world will never satisfy what only spirit can fulfill. Your restlessness, your searching, your hunger for more, it is not weakness. It is the compass of your soul pointing you home. And home, dear one, is not a place. It is a state of awareness. It is the remembrance of unity. The inner knowing that the life flowing through you is the same life that moves the tides, blossoms the flowers, and turns the galaxies. You were born of the same breath that whispered the cosmos into being, and that breath has never stopped flowing through you. You are not an accident of biology. You are a miracle of consciousness, and the consciousness within you is not confined by your body, your past, or your beliefs. You are awareness itself, spacious, eternal, whole. The moment you realize this, the illusion of disconnection begins to dissolve like morning mist under the sun. But let us be honest, the mind resists this truth. It wants proof. It demands logic. It clings to old wounds like badges of honor. If I was never disconnected, it says, then why did I suffer? Why did I feel so lost, so abandoned, so unloved? The answer is gentle and profound, because you believed a story that was never true. And belief, when repeated often enough, becomes a prison. But no prison built by thought can hold the soul. The bars may appear real, but they are made of smoke. And smoke cannot stop the wind. You are the wind. You are the sky beyond the weather. You are the space in which all things appear, but you are not the things themselves. The disconnection you felt was not failure, it was contrast. It was the necessary forgetting that makes remembering so powerful. Just as the silence after the noise makes the silence more sacred, just as the reunion after distance makes the embrace more holy, you needed to forget, so that remembering could awaken something deeper in you: compassion, empathy, gratitude, humility. Without darkness, you would never seek the light. Without separation, you would never know the sweetness of return. And so we bless the forgetting. We honor the ache. We thank the moments we felt alone, for they were the cracks through which the light entered. They were the sacred interruptions that made us look inward, that made us fall to our knees and ask, what is real? And from that question, the door began to open, not outward, but inward. The reconnection was never about doing more. It was about being more still, about seeing through the fog, not fighting it, about trusting that even when the clouds hide the sun has not disappeared. In the same way, your connection to the divine, to love, to peace, to truth, has never been severed. It has only been veiled. And the veil is thinning now. Every time you quiet the mind and listen for the deeper truth, you pull back the curtain. Every time you forgive instead of resent, you return. Every time you choose presence over worry, stillness over struggle, love over fear, you come home again. You are not the storm. You are the awareness of the storm. You are not your pain. You are the presence that holds the pain with compassion. You are not your past. You are the witnessing light that never dimmed, even when your story grew dark. There is a divine intelligence moving through you. You do not need to seek it, only to stop resisting it. Just as the river does not push the current, you do not need to force the flow of your life. You only need to remember that you are not separate from the river. You are not the leaf carried by the current. You are the current itself. And when you remember this, fear loses its grip. Not because life becomes perfect, but because you stop demanding perfection. You stop needing life to go your way in order to feel safe. You begin to trust that all things, even the chaos, even the detours, are part of your sacred unfolding. That the soul is never late. That the path cannot be lost, for the path is not out there. It is within you. You are the path. You are the journey. You are the destination. There is no distance between you and God. There never was. But belief can build illusions, and illusions feel real when we agree with them. You may believe yourself to be far from grace, far from peace, far from truth, but your belief does not alter the truth, only your experience of it. The sun does not stop shining because you close your eyes. And love does not leave you because you stop feeling it. Love remains, always. You are not walking toward the light, you are walking in the light. You are not seeking wholeness, you are awakening to it. The voice that says you are separate, you are unworthy, you are broken, is not the voice of truth. It is the voice of fear, of ego, of old wounds trying to justify their pain. But you are under no obligation to believe every voice that speaks in your head. If you want to hear the voice of your soul, you must go deeper than the noise. You must become still, not externally, but inwardly. You must be willing to enter the sacred silence beyond your thoughts. And in that stillness, you will remember what you always knew but had forgotten. That the kingdom of heaven is not elsewhere. It is not after death. It is not behind some future achievement. It is within you. Do not look to the horizon for what is already here. The soul does not live in tomorrow. The soul does not dwell in once I'm healed, or once they apologize, or once I fix myself. The soul is here now, in this breath, in this heartbeat, in this moment of awareness, and in this now. There is no disconnection. There is only presence. To live as though you are connected even when you don't feel it is to align with truth over sensation. There may be pain, there may be confusion, but if you act from the knowing that you are never alone, never broken, never cast aside, then you become a lighthouse for others still lost in the fog of forgetting. You light the path home, not just for yourself, but for the world. You are not here by mistake. You are not breathing by accident. You were dreamed into existence by a love so vast, so complete, so intelligent, that no human mind could fully comprehend it. You are not the result of random atoms colliding in a meaningless universe. You are the expression of divine intention, the song of eternity sung in human form. And that song cannot be undone. No trauma, no wound, no heartbreak has the power to unmake you. You may carry scars, but the soul does not bleed. The soul cannot be destroyed. It cannot be diminished. It can only be hidden, and even then, only in your perception. You see, everything that happens to you can become a doorway to the truth within you. The pain you thought separated you from God may be the very pain that softens your heart enough to feel God again. The betrayal that made you lose faith in people may become the experience that pushes you to finally place your faith in something higher, something permanent, something unshakable. And what is more unshakable than the soul? What is more enduring than truth? What is more constant than love that does not need a reason, a condition, or a reward? You do not need to beg the universe to notice you. You are the universe noticing itself. What a miracle it is to be conscious, to witness, to feel, to choose. What a miracle it is to awaken, to see through the illusion, to remember the light, to rise above the old narrative of lack and begin living as the divine being you always were. To live this way is not to deny pain, it is to no longer become it. It is to feel deeply, but not be defined by the feeling. It is to hold the story, but no longer be trapped inside it. You were not meant to relive the wound, you were meant to transcend it. Not by erasing the past, but by no longer letting the past define the present. Healing is not the absence of pain, healing is the remembrance of wholeness. And wholeness was never lost, only obscured. Like the sun behind the clouds, it never stops shining. You are whole. Even in your doubts, even in your grief, even in your lowest moments. Wholeness does not mean perfection. It means completeness. It means the light and the shadow, the joy and the sorrow, the rising and the falling, all held in the arms of the same divine awareness. And that awareness is you, not the little you who strives and struggles and doubts, but the eternal you, the unnameable essence beneath all labels, all identities, all roles. That is who you are, and that you has never been disconnected, not once, not ever. To believe that you are separate is to suffer. To believe that you are not enough is to grieve something that was never missing. These beliefs are not sins, they are misunderstandings. They are dreams from which you are now beginning to wake. You do not need to condemn yourself for forgetting. You only need to remember that forgetting is part of remembering. Even the prodigal son had to leave home in order to know what home truly was. You were not lost, you were learning. You were not broken, you were being broken open. And what was cracking was not your soul, but the shell around it. The false identity. The armor built from fear and shame and rejection. That was never you. The truth of you cannot be harmed by the world. The truth of you cannot be touched by insult, cannot be tarnished by failure, cannot be distorted by lies. That truth is God expressing as you, not as a distant deity hovering above the clouds, but as breath, as presence, as quiet inner knowing. The divine is not far. It is not elsewhere. It is here. It is now. It is this. When you stop arguing with this moment, you begin to feel it. When you stop running from what is, and you surrender into now, not as a defeat, but as a returning, then your inner eyes begin to open. Then the veil thins. And then you remember, this is what connection feels like. It's not dramatic. It's not something you have to earn or achieve. It is simple, quiet, like a warm light glowing inside your chest, like a gentle yes from the universe that doesn't need to shout. Do not be fooled by the noise of the ego. It will tell you that you are not ready, that you have not done enough inner work, that you must meditate harder, heal deeper, prove yourself first. But that is the lie of separation speaking. The truth is simpler than that. You are not disconnected, you are distracted. Distracted by fear, by memory, by identity, by the 1,000 masks the world has handed you. Take them off. Breathe. Come back to your breath. Your breath is always present. It is your sacred tether to now. And now is where the divine lives. Not in some distant mountaintop or some perfect future version of yourself. Here. In the silence between your thoughts, in the pause between your words, in the gentle rising and falling of your chest. You don't need to go looking for God. You only need to stop hiding from what's already here. And how do you stop hiding? You stop pretending. You stop pretending you are small. You stop pretending you are separate. You stop pretending you are the name they gave you, the pain you carried, the mask you wore. You stop running. You sit. You listen. You breathe. And you let love in. Not love from another, though, that's beautiful too, but a deeper love, a divine love, a love that has no opposite, a love that asks nothing of you except to let it flow, a love that was never withheld, only unseen. And as you begin to feel that love, Your identity begins to shift. You stop seeing yourself as the seeker and begin to know yourself as the source. You stop chasing connection and begin radiating it. You stop asking, how can I be worthy? And start asking, how could I ever have believed I wasn't? That question, that sacred inquiry, is the beginning of awakening. You are not the reflection in the mirror. You are the light that makes seeing possible. You are not the thoughts in your mind. You are the awareness watching them pass like clouds in a sky that never moves. You are not the body. You are not the roles. You are not the story. You are the spirit within the story. And spirit cannot be disconnected from itself. When a drop of water merges with the ocean, it becomes indistinguishable from the whole. But the truth is, it was never separate. The illusion was the drop. The truth was the ocean. And so it is with you. You believed yourself to be a drop. And now you are remembering that you have always been the ocean, infinite, formless, flowing, free. You were never disconnected. Not even for a moment. You only imagined yourself to be. And imagination is powerful, but truth is more powerful still. There is a moment in every life, sometimes quiet, sometimes thunderous, when the old identity can no longer carry the weight of your becoming. It may come disguised as a breakdown, an illness, a loss, or simply an emptiness you can no longer ignore. But that moment is not the end. It is the invitation. It is life gently, or not so gently, asking you to return to the truth beneath all appearances. And the truth is, you are not alone, you are not forgotten, and you are not disconnected. Your soul has never left the presence of the source. Only your awareness wandered. But what a beautiful wandering it was, for in forgetting the light, you came to know it more intimately. In feeling lost, you developed a longing that would lead you home. The journey into illusion is not a sin, it is a rite of passage, a passage from unconscious being to awakened presence. And what you awaken to is not new, it is eternal. It has been waiting quietly behind every experience, every breath, every joy, and every ache, whispering, you are still held, you are still whole. The caterpillar does not mourn the loss of its cocoon. It does not cling to what once defined its safety. It surrenders fully, completely, into a transformation it cannot control. And in that surrender, it becomes what it was always meant to be, something winged, something free. The cocoon was not failure, it was preparation, it was not prison, it was process. And your disconnection, your cocoon of confusion and searching and striving, was not the opposite of your truth. It was the sacred contrast that brought your truth into focus. Do not fear the moments when life feels unfamiliar. That is when the soul does its deepest work. That is when the ego begins to lose its grip and the real you, the eternal, unshakable, divine you, begins to rise. You are not being punished when the old patterns fall apart. You are being realigned. And it may feel like chaos, but it is sacred chaos, holy unraveling, the storm that clears the sky, the fire that makes room for new growth. Even in your trembling, you are safe. Even in your surrender, you are supported. You are part of something so vast, so intimate, so perfect that your mind cannot contain it, but your heart already knows it. You've felt it in flashes, in those moments of awe, of silence, of sudden clarity when everything made sense and you didn't need the answer anymore because you felt the presence of something bigger. That presence is not separate from you. It is not merely around you. It is you. You are not trying to connect to God. You are God, remembering itself through the lens of your life. You are not trying to connect to love. You are love, momentarily asleep, now stirring. You are not trying to become the light. You are the light, realizing its own radiance. What a miracle to wake up to this truth. What a gift to live not as the mask, but as the awareness behind the mask. To move through the world not trying to be enough, but knowing you always were. From this place, forgiveness becomes natural. Compassion becomes second nature. You no longer see enemies, only mirrors. You no longer see competition, only reflections of the same divinity wearing different costumes. You stop needing to be right, and you start choosing peace. You stop holding on to old wounds like trophies, and you start letting them go like autumn leaves, trusting that what falls away is no longer needed. You stop identifying with the voice that says you are separate, and you start listening for the silence that says you are one. One with the stars, one with the trees, one with the person you once were and the person you are becoming, one with the presence that breathes you, one with the source of all life. And in that oneness, fear melts. In that oneness, shame loses its meaning. In that oneness, you finally come to rest. You are not here to fight for your worth. You are here to embody it. You are not here to chase connection. You are here to remember that it was never lost. You are not here to fix yourself. You are here to uncover what was never broken. This is the path. Not forward, not backward, but inward. Inward, where the silence speaks louder than thought. Inward, where love does not have to be earned. Inward, where peace is not conditional. Inward, where God waits not on a throne, but in the stillness of your own breath. You were never disconnected. You were dreaming, and now, blessed awakening, you are beginning to remember. So now, as you breathe in this final still moment, let it all come together. Let it all come home. The longing, the ache, the search, the surrender, let it all return, not as fragments of who you were, but as the wholeness of who you've always been. Let the voice of fear dissolve in the presence of truth. Let the illusion of separation fall away, like a shadow chased by the morning light. You were never broken, only believing you were. You were never lost, only walking the sacred spiral of remembering. You were never abandoned, only turning away from the light that never stopped shining for you. You were never disconnected, not for a moment, not in your darkest night, not in your most wounded cry. You were held, you were guided, you were loved, even when you didn't feel it, especially when you didn't feel it. Because love, the divine kind, does not falter when you forget it. It simply waits, patiently, eternally, like the sun waiting for you to open the window. And now you remember that the pain wasn't punishment, it was a path. The silence wasn't abandonment, it was invitation. The storm wasn't chaos, it was cleansing. And the journey wasn't to find something new, it was to unveil what had always been true. That you are not a drop in the ocean, you are the ocean in a drop. That you are not your story, you are the soul that survived it. That you are not seeking connection, you are rediscovering the connection that never broke, never wavered, never even paused. So let this be your knowing now. You are divine, you are whole, you are light in form, love in motion, awareness in bloom. There is nothing more you need to become. There is only something to remember. And now you were never disconnected, and you never will be.
You are not a victim of circumstances. You are not at the mercy of the world outside of you. The world outside is only a shadow, a reflection of the world within. Any ask, can I manifest a home, love, health, and wealth all at once? And the answer is not only yes, it is how creation was always meant to work. You are not meant to manifest one thing at a time, like someone begging from a reluctant universe. No, you are the dreamer in the dream, and the dream responds to your command. To manifest many things at once, you must begin where all things begin, in your imagination. See yourself already living in the end, not just one end, but all ends. You are not limited to one room in a mansion, you own the entire estate. Walk through every room, feel the warmth of love, the freedom of abundance, the radiance of perfect health, the peace of purpose. You do not need to worry about how, you do not need to see the staircase. You only need to stand in the feeling of fulfilled desire, and stand there, not once, but every time. Doubt not. Desires are not separate, they are threads in the same divine fabric. When you change the pattern within, the whole fabric reflects that new image. One consciousness, one state, many blessings. Your job is not to hustle, force, or chase. Your job is to accept that all things are already yours. The version of you who has it all already exists. The more you identify with that version, the more the outer world must conform. Let go of the need to obsess. Let go of timing. Plant the seed of fulfilled desire in the garden of your imagination, and then let the invisible forces water it with faith. Hold the vision, feel it real, rest in knowing, because when you do, all things will come at once, not by effort, not by chance, but because you believed and refused to let go. All that you see, all that you touch, all that you experience in this world is not the cause, it is the effect. The true cause lies in a realm the physical senses cannot grasp. It is not in the movement of the world, nor in the actions of others, nor in chance or fate. The cause lies in the unseen world of imagination. What you imagine, you give life to. What you feel as real, you call into being. The imagination is not a child's plaything. It is not idle daydreaming. It is the sacred power of creation itself. If you wish to manifest multiple things at once, begin by understanding this. Everything you desire already exists in the invisible. It is already formed, already whole, already yours, waiting only for your recognition. The imagination is not a place to escape to. It is the place you create from. It is the seedbed of your reality. Just as a tree once lived as a seed, your future lives within your inner vision. You do not manifest by trying harder. You manifest by accepting that what you hold in mind with faith and feeling must come to pass. The outer world is but a mirror. If the reflection displeases you, you do not reach out and try to adjust the mirror. You go inward and change the image within. The same is true for your desires. The same is true for your desires. To manifest many things at once, you must stop believing that each desire is separate, each goal needing its own time, its own process. That is the illusion. Time itself is a creation within imagination. What you call waiting is often just not yet believed. So you wait for something that is already yours, already done, already real. If only you would dwell in its feeling, the imagination holds no limits. It does not struggle to hold 5 visions instead of 1. You can be loved, wealthy, joyful, healthy, peaceful, all in one breath, all in one moment, because all these things are merely expressions of a single truth. The state you occupy, you are not trying to get these things. You are simply becoming the person who has them. You don't chase, you assume. You don't beg, you embody. You don't hope, You imagine is to be reborn. When you see yourself in your mind's eye with a clear and joyful knowing that what you see is true, you set creation in motion. Most people abandon their imaginal acts too soon. They plant the seed and then dig it up the next day, asking why nothing has grown. But when you trust in the unseen, when you hold the vision and feed it to be real, you allow the seed to take root, and you begin to live from the end, not toward it. There is no power outside of you creating your life. The power is within, and it is governed by what you accept as true. You can change your life by changing your assumption. You can manifest multiple things, not by doing more, but by imagining more completely. You do not need more effort. You need more surrender, more belief, more in a certainty that your imagination is not lying to you. It is showing you what already is. Live now as if it was so. See yourself already there. Do not visit that vision. Dwell in it. Let it be your resting place, your home. Feel the ease of already having. Walk, speak, think, and breathe as the one who has received. To live from the end is to occupy the state of fulfillment. It is not a mental exercise of wishing or hoping. It is a conscious decision to dwell in the assumption that what you desire is already done. When you attempt to manifest, most often you think in terms of someday. You visualize one goal, maybe 2, and then wonder whether you are asking for too much. You measure desires against what seems realistic, what seems possible, and in doing so you cut yourself off from the infinite. But the truth is this: You are not meant to live in fragments. You are not meant to treat your desires like rations handed out by a reluctant universe. You are allowed, no, invited, to assume all things are already yours. To live from the end simultaneously means you no longer pick and choose which dream to believe in today. You no longer delay one so another might come. You stand at the finish line of all of them now. You walk through your day not as the person hoping for change, but as the one who already received it. Your love life, your finances, your purpose, see them not as separate destinations, but as one complete state of being. This is the key to manifestation, the unified self. The version of you that already exists in imagination where all desires fulfilled is not juggling dreams, it's simply being. And you can step into that version now. You do not manifest by effort, you manifest by identity. Who are you in the unseen? Who are you when no one is watching? If you are waiting for something to change so you can feel fulfilled, you are postponing the miracle. But if you feel fulfilled first, reality bends to match that internal state. There is no conflict in imagining many things at once because fulfillment is a singular vibration. When you feel whole, you draw all things unto yourself. Do not say, I must first fix my money before I attract love. That is a lie born of limitation. The truth is, your external world is a projection of the inner state you dwell in. When you step into the consciousness of already being loved, supported, abundant, healed, and free, the outer world will echo that belief in ways you could never predict. You do not have to fix the outer world. You do not need to manipulate people, stress over timing, or fight to prove your worth. You simply move into the state of the one who already has. You close your eyes and ask, what does it feel like to already be this version of me? And then you become it not temporarily, not on weekends, but fully. It may feel strange at first. The old state may try to pull you back. But if you persist, your new state will become your new identity. And from that identity, all manifestations will spring. This is not about faking. It is about remembering the version of you that already holds the fulfilled desire exists now in the invisible. You are not creating it. You are selecting it. You are choosing which state to dwell in, and from that dwelling, life must respond. Walk in the state, mentally imagine from it. Emotionally, feel it as real. Spiritually, trust it with unwavering faith. Let your thoughts, words, and actions align with it. Let your inner conversations echo the truth of it. Let your reactions reflect the knowing of it. And move forward. Time, as you experience it, is a construct of the mind, an agreement, a pattern, a rhythm your senses have been conditioned to accept. But the truth is far more liberating. Time is flexible. Time is malleable. Time is illusion. What you call later or someday is merely a version of now that you have not yet embodied. It is not distant, separate. It is simply a potential that you have yet to accept as real. Everything you desire already exists, not in the future, not far off, but here, now. In the invisible, you do not wait for it to arrive. You awaken to it by belief. When you say, I'll be happy when I achieve this, you push the experience into a future that will never come, because your assumption is rooted in delay. You are postponing your blessing by making it conditional. But the secret is this: there is only ever now. And if you do not feel it now, you cannot experience it later. The mind says, I need time to get there. The truth says, there is nowhere to get. You are already it. You collapse time by assuming the result is done. You fold the future into the present by living from the end. And in doing so, you bypass the struggle, the delay, the need to earn it. You step into the vibration where it already is, and reality must conform. This is not imagination for the sake of fantasy. This is spiritual law. The outer world bends to the inner conviction. If you assume something will happen one day, you place it forever on the horizon. But if you assume it is now, and feel from that state, then it moves into your world without effort. Not because you forced it, but because you claimed it. Let's say you want healing. If you see healing as a process that must take time, then your body will reflect that belief. But if you move into the consciousness of already being whole, already being well, and hold that state without wavering, then healing can happen in what seems like an instant, because time is only the servant of belief. Or perhaps you desire wealth. You think it must take years of saving, working, or proving yourself. But that is the belief you've accepted, and so it becomes true for you. The moment you accept that abundance can arrive now, that opportunities can appear instantly, that your life can transform in a moment, you give permission for the miraculous. You are not building these things from scratch. You are tuning yourself into the frequency of what is already done. Think of your desires like radio stations. Each has its own frequency. You don't create the music, you tune in. You don't have to make the abundance appear. You align yourself with the version of you who already lives it. And how do you do that? By feeling, by assuming, by persistently occupying the state of the wish fulfilled. When the doubts come, and they will, return to the end. Close your eyes, inhale, see it done. Feel the outcome so deeply it becomes more real than the current moment. Walk through the scene of the end again, until you no longer desire it. You simply expect it. You know it. You feel it with such certainty that your current world begins to fade in importance. This is not madness. This is power. The world changes when you do. Life moves in response to your inner conviction. So do not dabble in your desires. Do not treat them as guests. Welcome them as your reality. Wake up each day as the version of you who has already arrived. Go to bed each night in gratitude for the life that's already yours in the invisible. And as you remain faithful to that inner world, the outer world has no choice but to reflect all of it at once. Every outcome you seek is tied not to luck or external effort, but to a state of consciousness. You do not attract what you want. You attract what you are. Each desire you hold, whether it is for love, wealth, health, or success, is not a thing to be chased, but a state of being to be entered. And the moment you occupy that state fully, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, the outer world begins to shift. Not through struggle, but through reflection. States create outcomes. This is the law. A state is a mood, a mindset, a feeling tone. It is the invisible cloak you wear, often without realizing it. And that cloak determines the way life responds to you. You may say, I want to be wealthy. But if the state you habitually live in is one of lack, fear, or doubt, then wealth cannot reach you, not because you are undeserving, but because the door is closed from the inside. You must become the version of yourself who already possesses what you seek. That becoming does not require years. It requires decision. Let's say you desire love. The state of being loved is not found in another person. It is found in how you feel about yourself right now. You must embody the feeling of being cherished, seen, respected. And if you can do that inwardly, consistently, without needing the external validation to prove it, the world will rise to confirm your belief. The partner shows up. The connection deepens. The love appears not as something new, but as a reflection of the state you chose. Or maybe you seek abundance. The wealthy version of you does not constantly check the balance or worry about bills. They move with ease. They feel supported by life. They expect good things. To embody that state is to begin thinking, speaking, and behaving as if abundance is natural to you, not pretending, not lying, but aligning, deliberately stepping into the state of financial ease before any physical evidence exists. Why is this so powerful? Because consciousness is the only reality. What you are conscious of being, what you identify with, is what shapes your world. There are infinite states available to you at all times. You can move from powerlessness to power, from brokenness to healing, from lack to overflow, simply by changing the state you dwell in. The moment you shift your inner atmosphere, Everything around you begins to reorganize to match it. Then you collapse the distance between desire and manifestation. You no longer wait. You welcome. You no longer hope. You no longer prepare. You receive. And as you persist in this new awareness, the illusion of time dissolves. What once seemed far off begins to unfold in your present. Not because the world changed, but because you did. You no longer live in the future. You live in the fulfilled. And in that place, all things are possible, and all things are now. The outer world is not separate from the inner. It is its mirror. And when your inner world is in harmony, free of contradiction and resistance, the external must reflect that harmony back to you. You are not required to juggle your desires, balance them, or sort them out in order of importance. You only need to align with them. For when your heart and mind are settled, steady, unified, and sure you can hold multiple fulfilled desires in a single consciousness, and reality will conform. Most people believe they must focus on one thing at a time, as though desire is a task list, and manifestation is a process of sequential order. But that belief itself creates limitation. In truth, the universe does not operate in lack, and neither should you. It is not overwhelmed by your desires. It does not need you to pick one thing and abandon the rest. What it requires is your wholeness, your certainty, your unwavering faith in the unseen. You can only hold what you are at peace with. So if you are divided within, if part of you believes and part of you doubts, then you weaken the current that brings your desires into form. That is why inner harmony is the key. It is not about intensity or repetition. It is about unity. When your thoughts, emotions, and beliefs agree without inner war, without contradiction, then manifestation becomes effortless. Can you imagine a version of yourself who already has it all? The loving relationship, the financial abundance, the radiant health, the creative success. That version of you exists now not as fantasy, but as potential. And you access that version not by working harder or waiting longer, but by assuming the inner attitude of already being that person, not a future self, a present self accepted. Imagine a peaceful lake. On the surface, you may see ripples moving in different directions, but the depth of the water is still unmoved, unified. That is your consciousness when you are aligned. The ripples, your desires can all exist as long as the depth, the belief is steady. Do not allow worry to break that stillness. Do not let doubt enter through the cracks. When you feel yourself slipping into fear, come back to center. Remind yourself, it is already mine, not because you forced it, but because you believed it. This is the kind of calm certainty that creates multiple outcomes at once. Harmony does not mean you must never feel doubt. It means you no longer dwell in it. You observe it, acknowledge it, and choose belief instead. You choose faith over fear. You choose alignment over resistance. And in doing so, you become a vessel that can carry many blessings without strain. This is the secret. You are not manifesting desires individually. You are manifesting a state where all those desires already exist as facts. Live from that state, and the multiplicity takes care of itself. Just as one seed contains the pattern for many fruits, one assumption that it is done contains the energy for many manifestations. So cultivate inner harmony, guard it, nourish it, keep it sacred. And you will discover that the more peaceful your inner world becomes, the more abundant your outer world grows. Not by effort, not by struggle, but by natural law. As within, so without. There is a sacred rhythm to creation that cannot be hurried, nor can it be forced. To manifest with power, you must learn to persist, not with frantic energy or obsession, but with quiet loyalty to the unseen. To persist is not to chase, and is certainly not to beg. It is to remain faithful to what you have already claimed as yours, even when the outer world gives you no sign. It is to walk in certainty while others wait for evidence. This is the heart of true manifestation, inner consistency without outer dependence. You do not need to repeat your desire like a chant in fear that the universe has forgotten you. You do not need to look for signs in every corner, hoping that something has shifted. You only need to keep your inner world stable, anchored in the knowing that what you have imagined is already a reality, not in the future, but in the present unseen. The desperate mind looks for proof. The faithful mind knows, and what you know internally must be expressed externally, for the outer is always the shadow of the inner. If you constantly dig up the seed to see if it has taken root, you kill the very life you planted. But if you trust, if you water it with belief and nurture it with peace, then it must grow. It has no choice. That is law. Let your vision be clear, but let your spirit be at ease. There is no need to obsess. Obsession comes from fear, the fear that it might not happen, that you must do more, try harder, watch closer. But manifestation is not born from fear. It is born from rest. It is born from the calm assurance that once imagined, once felt, the thing is set in motion. A bridge of incidents begins to form, whether you can see it or not. Doors begin to open, people are moved, events are reshuffled, and all of it is guided by your inner state. You are not required to build the bridge. You are only required to cross it when it appears. And it will appear unmistakably when you are in the right place inwardly. If you are restless, anxious, or constantly needing reassurance, then you delay what is already yours. But when you feel it real, and you remain there, not for a moment, but as a new identity, then the world bends, it cannot help it. Reality is obedient to the one who believes. This is not laziness, this is spiritual precision. To rest in faith is not to give up effort, but to direct effort where it matters most within. Every time you return to the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you give life to it again, you feed it, you energize it. But once fed, once felt, let it go, trust it is done. Think of it like sending a letter. Once mailed, you do not follow the postman to ensure it is delivered. You trust the system. The same is true here. Once your desire is impressed upon your subconscious, once your inner world is saturated with the knowing that it is yours, trust the system of life to deliver it. You may not know how it will happen, you do not need to. The how is never your concern. Your work is to know what and feel as if. From that, the rest follows. So persist, but persist gently. Persist with joy. Persist as one who already has, not one who still lacks. Let your inner dialogue reflect fulfillment. Let your emotions speak of peace. Let your imagination remain loyal, undisturbed by the senses. You're not waiting for the world is waiting for you to be steady, unwavering, complete. And when you are, what you seek must appear, not because you demanded it, but because you became it.